and welcome everybody to another episode of Top Rope Talk. I am your host, Denzel the Sniper, Denzel Snipes, and this is Sean Russey, the MLB NBA. He probably gonna conquer NBA in a year or two anyway. Major League Baseball agent Sean Russey, and we have a loaded show for you today because this is the WWE Elimination Chamber recap show. Before we get started, everybody, please tune into all of our social, or follow us on all of our socials rather. We are at Sideline Sports on Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, and TikTok as well. And also, most definitely check us out on our website, sideline-se.com. There's a lot of great material, a lot of great coverage. Our guy Will is going to be out there tonight for the Rockets Wizards game. He's going to have a lot of great pictures, a lot of great shots from some of the star players and everything. And also, there's tons of great articles on there for you to read, all the latest stuff, so all the latest happening. So that's sideline-se.com. Check us out. Add it as your favorite. Check it out every single day. We always got something new for you. So with that being said, Sean, how you doing tonight, man?
No, everything's going good, boss. How are you?
Doing good, doing pretty good. So we had a very interesting night last Saturday night, and that was our WWE Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, full of surprises, actually. So we'll go ahead and get right to it. I know it's about 21 minutes before Raw comes on. So let's go ahead and kick it off. One night after losing the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, Rhea Ripley won the Women's Elimination Chamber match, and she will face WWE Women's Champion Jade Cargill for that same title at WrestleMania 42. Sean, your thoughts about this match?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we both kind of saw it coming when they dropped the titles like that. Wasn't a bad move to put it on Lash and Nia. I think they're going to be hard to knock off. I think they could carry the titles for a long time here and really build up a younger team in that division just because of just the stature of their size alone. And then obviously Nia has the veteran leadership there, Lash being the young person. I think they'll hold that for a while, and eventually, Lash only can match up with so many people one-on-one, so it would make sense that they split way down the line. But I think it was a good move to put it on them versus back on, Asuka and Kari or even Charlotte and Alexa.
Hey, you kind of froze there. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. The only thing about this is now Rhea's on SmackDown, and effectively the tag team of Rio is split because Sky is not following her to SmackDown. She's remaining on Raw. So me personally, but I expect her now to go and chase back for singles competition. Maybe even, dare I say it, she could chase after the Women's Intercontinental Championship a little later on this year. What do you think?
Yeah, especially now it seems that, Rhea's going to be on her own path again, which I think obviously with a character like Rhea, you can only keep her in a tag team for so long. I think we'll see the shame with Charlotte here. It's hard to keep strong people like that in a tag team. But I think Io can, elevate that title for sure.
Yes. And with you know what? And I was glad that they went about it the way they did, because typically history has shown that if a tag team splits, it's either because one of them got injured or one turns on the other. With this one, you had a friendly split. You had two best friends, and it's like, hey, one of them's in a chamber match, knowing the possibility of, hey, should one of us win, then we're going to end up kind of moving on, without each other. But I thought it was interesting that they went this route. But yeah, I mean, you have to have Rhea Ripley in the big matches at WrestleMania. And also, whether folks like to admit it or not, it's pretty much a bit of a super fight feel when it comes to Jade Cargill. Given her background and given her past in AEW, she finally reached the top of the mountain, winning her first world title. So something like this and going up against a quality opponent, a top-tier quality opponent like Rhea Ripley, for Jade Cargill, if she can get the victory at WrestleMania, it would pay huge dividends for her.
Yeah, 100%. I think she's come a long way from the matches with Tiffany. and those were just a few months ago. I think going up against Rhea gives her a chance to really prove that she can have a solid match, which is considered the top of the women's division, which is Rhea.
Yes, 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 for sure. And so, with that being said, speaking of the Women's Intercontinental Championship, how about a new champion in Chicago? AJ Lee stuns Becky Lynch and wins her first championship in 11 years. You know, every wrestler has that one wrestler that just has their number. Would you agree this is the case with Becky Lynch?
Yeah, I think it will be at least for the next couple months, and we'll touch on this on the road to WrestleMania. Unfortunately, I think AJ Lee is a very part-time attraction, so I don't see her holding it full-time, but it was nice to see her get the belt after so many years away. And we talked about this in our group text, but the shocking thing to me was that the pop was not as loud as I expected for when she, finally won the title. They actually, I think, missed it on the first one where the referee unfortunately was knocked out because the pop was a lot louder for the fake tap out than it was for the actual one.
For the actual one, yeah, yeah. I don't know if the crowd kind of saw it coming. Like I said, we both expected Lynch to retain the title and then AJ Lee rematch her and win it at WrestleMania. That's what I thought was going to happen. And now I'm having thoughts of what if they do it in reverse and Lynch gets the title back at WrestleMania, or AJ faces Lynch again, beats her, Lynch goes away, and someone else beats AJ Lee for the title.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. I think with no PLE between now and Mania, I don't know if we've got a Saturday night main event coming up, but you could definitely have a couple wrenches thrown in there.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. But no, all around it was a very good match. AJ Lee, I mean, again, it seems that she hasn't lost a step in the ring or anything like that. And it was really great they both kind of come from the same era, but I mean, as far as Becky Lynch goes, and we've talked so much about the twilight of other wrestlers' careers, John Cena, AJ Styles, and, Randy Orton, who we'll talk about here in just a moment. I really think this is the last stand for Becky Lynch. She's done it all, There's nothing else left for her to prove.
Yeah, I mean, I could see her slowing down, but I think she just loves it too much. So I think she'll continue to, and one credit to Becky is she has elevated younger talent. Regardless what's said, she helped Maxine get a couple wins there. And that's put Maxine in a storyline with one of the top heels right now, Natalya, and made that storyline more credible. And I think she'll continue to do that, especially with Seth. Seth's not going anywhere. I think she'll stick around for a long time, unless they've got more babies planned.
Yeah, I mean, now one thing you bring up Maxine. That is one thing that they do have to do with Maxine is they have to elevate her, in my opinion, a little bit more. I'm not saying push her to the moon right now, but a little bit more than what they're doing because Maxine did not just beat Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. She beat a former world champion. She beat a woman who was at the first ever all-women's WrestleMania main event. You know what I mean? I say that to say, Becky Lynch has kind of become like a gatekeeper in the women's division. She's so a victory over her. Hey, there, can you hear me?
Yeah, you froze for a second.
Oh, okay. Oh man, that's an unflattering picture. Okay, it looks like I froze. Okay, you can still hear me?
Yep.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, I don't know what happened with StreamYard. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I don't know what is going on, why I'm not showing on screen. All right, I'll just go operate like this right now. All right, well, let's move on to our next matchup, and that is the World Heavyweight Championship. So CM Punk retained against Finn Balor, like we expected, and he will defend the title against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 42. Now, the only thing that I can really take from this match, it was a great match. The only thing I can really take from this match is at the end when Finn had a sincere handshake with him. Will this turn into the split of the Judgment Day? You think they're going to check him backstage here tonight?
I don't know if they'll focus on the handshake, but I think it's definitely going to be brought up that he lost again. I think that's going to be more the focal point, and it will lead to the Judgment Day Civil War that we've seen coming for a little bit here. It's just going to be interesting to see how we do the split, because you figure Finn, JD are going to be on one side. Do they get Raquel and Roxanne, or is it Dominic, Raquel, and Liv on the other side, and they just get Roxanne on Finn's side? But it'll be interesting, to say the least, to see how this breaks down into several different WrestleMania matches if they decide to pull the trigger on this before Mania. I think with Raquel not winning the Chamber, they kind of have to do it, so she also has something to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And with and also you kind of figure. Oh, and by the way, Roman Reigns is due to show up tonight on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, I think we'll get the typical pull apart. They'll probably throw some fists after some heated comments, and we'll get the typical security run in. I do hope, even with Seth's return, we stay far away from interweaving this story right now. I know they've got to come back to it because of how it ended with Heyman, but now that Seth has officially turned on the guy that helped turn the triple threat match, they've got a lot of work to do to get back to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so with that being said, good segue. We're going to go ahead and go to our men's Elimination Chamber match. So Randy Orton has punched his ticket to Las Vegas. He wins the Chamber match in shocking fashion. Dude, I don't know if he was even a pick to win this one. People were kind of expecting Cody Rhodes, LA Knight. LA Knight was kind of the perennial favorite, you figure, right? Orton stuns everyone, especially in the way that it did. Orton stuns everyone and wins the Chamber. What are your thoughts about this one?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone thought Randy was going to win it. I think a lot of people figured somehow or another we were going to see Cody's hand raised, or if not, then fan favorite LA Knight would finally get an opportunity. But he just doesn't match to the storyline they've been telling on SmackDown. So I think he was a long shot, but he was the other probably betting favorite in terms of if you were looking at odds. But I think everybody expected Cody to pull it off somehow. But the only issue I have with the match is the announcing team really pushed how this was going to be Cody's last chance to get to Mania, and we harped on it about 100 times during the match. Cody sold it after the match with his facial expressions, and then 10 minutes into the post show we get a title match for Cody and Drew on SmackDown.
Yeah.
We said this for weeks that it's going to be a multi-man match at Mania. It's not going to be Randy versus Drew one-on-one. So I think Cody wins Friday. Drew enacts his rematch clause conveniently for WrestleMania. You've got at least a triple threat. And then you've got Fatu and Sammy, who both have their own claims to how McIntyre screwed their opportunities. So I think those two will face off for the final spot in a four-way.
Okay. So do you have it more of a triple threat or a fatal four-way?
I think it'll be a four-way. I don't know if we're going to pull the trigger on Sammy right now. And there's so much going on with the random, mysterious attacks, between Fatu and Uso. Are we going to pin it on Jimmy? Are we going to pin it on Sammy? Is it going to be someone we don't see coming? Obviously, I don't think it's going to get pinned on McIntyre. Does it get pinned on Cody down the line? But I don't see face Sammy going into this to win. So I think if Sammy's going into a match to get involved in this, it's going to be because he's revealed as the attacker who just lost his mind, got jealous of everybody else's opportunities. But that has to come soon. If they decide to hold that off, I think Fatu just beats him, and we continue the Sammy story of, oh my God. And then we have another mystery attack after Mania, and then Sammy's, revealed as the attacker way down the line.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see him finally win the world title as a face. But there are many avenues that they could go with this one. He very well could be the mystery attacker. I think as of right now, people they may have him tapped as the mystery attacker. It wouldn't surprise me any if he was. I actually had a thought that maybe it was Fatu himself that took out his own cousin.
Yeah, and like I said, they've left it open where it can be several guys, but it just seems like down the line, it'll be Sammy or Cody. I don't think they're going to reveal it before Mania based on how we're going, but I think we'll get maybe one more attack before Mania, and then you get one more attack like the Friday show after Mania that then eventually leads to the reveal.
Yeah. Yeah, totally interesting. The only thing about it is if somehow Sammy ends up in this match,
Or
you know, and
you could do the attack at Mania. He takes out Fatu backstage at Mania, gets inserted, wins the match as a face, and like we talked about, then comes back and says, "Screw all of you, I was the attacker."
hey, that's possible also. He'd win the title. So he'd win the championship, get the face reaction, and then immediately turn heel.
Yep.
Interesting train of thought there. I like it. Okay. And so, well, with that being said, we're gonna go on. We have about 7 minutes left in the show. To our section of the show that we like to call Sean Russey's Enter the Vault. We're taking a trip back into the past, stepping into a time machine, and talking about what happened at this time some odd years ago. Take it away with the first one.
Yeah, so March 2nd, 1993, probably a not very remembered match. Paul Orndorff actually beats Bill Watts' son, Eric Watts, for the in the final of a WCW TV tournament. The title had been vacated because Scott Steiner actually left and signed with WWF, and then would return to WCW less than 12 months later, kind of right before the Monday Night Wars kicked off. And I think it's something that I put that in there it's actually something that kind of gets ignored. I know we had the Flair jump in 92 and that didn't last too long, but then we had the Steiner jump. And then in the middle of all that, Steve Austin was actually in WCW and he jumps to WWF at around the point that Steiner jumps back to WCW. So that's really where everybody credits X-Pac with kicking it off, but quietly, those couple signings was actually kicking off the war in terms of contractual wars behind the scenes.
Yeah, and also keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this was done before the internet was even a thing. Even when the Monday Night Wars at first kicked off, the internet was in its infancy. WCW actually had a feature where if you went on like WCW.com, then you could hear like audio of the match and then see like still shots, you know? And that was like kind of it wasn't streaming, but it was kind of like how streaming is right now. You know what I'm saying? Like you get the audio, but instead of getting like the live, it's live, but you're not seeing it live on screen, the movement. You get still shots, you know? So like, for example, if Goldberg nailed a spear, okay, you get like a still shot of the spear instead of just seeing him actually spear him and then doing his pose and everything like that. But there were a lot of back and forth that was going on between. And keep in mind, same time period, Luger jumped from WCW to WWE.
Yep, and then he jumps back and is on the opening Nitro.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was hot potato with superstars at the time period. Oh, also, don't forget, 1994, Macho Man Randy Savage left WWE and then signed with WCW. So it was a lot of trading and back and forth at the time period. It was a crazy time. You had to be there. So on to our second one, and that is what happened on March the 3rd of 2014.
Yeah, and I put this one in there because it's one of these fantasy matchups that I think fans actually forget about. A young Usos team actually defeated New Age Outlaws, who had been back for, I think, like a 3 to 6 month run. They had held the belts for a little bit at the time. They put over the Usos, obviously, but it was a good match. But I think it's one people typically forget about. I believe it also happened on a Monday Night Raw, not a pay-per-view, so that also makes it a little easier to forget about.
Yes, and also at the time period, this was the time of Triple H and the Authority, So the New Age Outlaws, they had came back and they had actually reunited with Triple H. And so seeing those three together again as heels and Triple H in the position of authority, it kind of reminded me of the McMahon-Helmsley era of 2000.
Yeah, and I think, with wrestling, you get a lot of that, especially if you go 20, 30 years down the line. You can rehash a storyline and not a lot of people are going to remember it. The Bloodline had very NWO DNA in it, and then obviously became its own thing. But you could see at the outset, the roots were set, back in 95, 96, NWO type stuff.
Yes, absolutely. And so, with that being said, and we're about 3 minutes away from Raw, on March the 4th of 2000, a historical event took place.
Yeah, so this is one of the reigns that unfortunately ends due to injury, and one of the longer ones. Not typically we have that quick. He won the belt and he happened to get hurt during the match, and he has to give it up exactly the next night. But you know, Rob Van Dam had a 700-day reign, and he had pushed through several injuries, but finally, due to one that was going to require surgery, he had to vacate the title. And I think that just speaks volumes of what Heyman thought of RVD and how much he pushed through for ECW. Because you could have asked him to do one more match, just kind of like Cody and Seth, like, hey, there's no further damage to be done here. At least give us the match and then go get the surgery. But Heyman just let him drop it in a respectful way. And I believe after the injury, he came back and regained it from Sabu pretty quickly.
Yeah. But you know what? This is one of those things, and don't get me wrong, it was an historic TV title reign in wrestling history, not just ECW history. But man, at the time period, he was a main event star that was on the mid card. He was that's what the whole effing show, Mr. Monday Night. I would have much rather have seen him have just over a year, just over 365 days, and then drop the belt and then be a world title contender.
Yeah, I was surprised Heyman never went there with him, but I think, unfortunately with Taz and Shane Douglas, and Heyman was known to let his champions hold the belt for a long time. Rob Van Dam kind of had that ceiling, like we'll let you be like the main event and face the Mike Awesomes for 7 series and Sabu's, and you're gonna put on the match of the night. We know it, but there's definitely a ceiling here for whatever reason.
Yeah, and I always wondered what ceiling that was. I thought that it was. Don't get me wrong, he finally reached the top of the mountain. It just had to happen in WWE. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the WWE's version of ECW, and ironically, he beats John Cena, which obviously is a huge rub for him, but definitely a little bit too late.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that being said, Raw is starting right now, and we'd like to thank all of y'all for tuning in to Top Rope Talk. Sorry, my camera, I don't know what's going on with StreamYard or anything like that, but at least you guys got to hear my voice. But we will see you all next week for more Top Rope Talk. Enjoy Raw, and we will see, and we begin the road to WrestleMania really started, back with the Royal Rumble, but we are continuing the road to WrestleMania. We will see you all next week for more Top Rope Talk.